Welcome to Story Cinema. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the story. Have a good day. And please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you. Story begins 36 years after the previous movie, introducing several new characters. Lydia Deetz is the main protagonist, while the antagonist is Dolores. The story starts in a house where Lydia Deetz is hosting a show called Ghost House. Lydia lives in the house with her stepmother, Lydia Deetz, and daughter Astrid, who is now a teenager attending school. On the show, Delia shares some of her old memories as she explores the house, which appears haunted, with objects moving on their own, as if controlled by some unseen force. As Lydia grows uneasy, the audience starts to feel anxious too. In the middle of the show, Lydia sees Beetlejuice, becomes terrified, and quickly leaves with her new boyfriend Rory. Later, Rory talks to Lydia, advising her not to take a new drug. Lydia, however, persuades him, and the two of them live together. Lydia is a widow, and after some time she marries Rory. Delia, Lydia's stepmother, has a conversation with Lydia, revealing that Lydia's father, Charles, didn't leave her mother as Lydia had thought. Instead, Charles passed away in a plane crash. Miraculously, he survived the crash, but shortly after, a shock attacked and killed him. In another scene, a man is shown talking on the phone before falling into a pit, which transports him to another realm, a world where the dead reside, similar to hell. According to the rules of this world, it's where people go after death. We then meet a strange man handing out token numbers to those entering the afterlife. Suddenly, after an electric shock, the old man drops some boxes, one of which contains a girl with disassembled body parts. She begins putting herself back together, and the girl is revealed to be Dolores, the main villain of the movie. Dolores possesses immense power, capable of destruction, and her primary target is Beetlejuice. We are then introduced to Astrid, Lydia's teenage daughter at school. As her family comes to pick her up, Lydia continues to see Beetlejuice everywhere, including outside the school, which terrifies her. Meanwhile, Beetlejuice is walking in another world as a manager, making deals with the dead, some ethical and some not. He has a conversation with Wolf Jackson, a ghost detective, who shows Beetlejuice a picture of Dolores. This sends Beetlejuice into a frenzy, realizing that Dolores has returned to kill him. Beetlejuice recounts his history with Dolores, explaining how they met accidentally years ago, got married, and then had a falling out. Dolores poisoned him, but Beetlejuice managed to kill her with sword before dying himself. In hell, Dolores' body was dismembered, but Beetlejuice remains whole. In the present, Lydia hosts a party at Charles' funeral. During the event, Rory talks to Astrid, telling her to come to himself if she has any problem. Astrid feels angry and upset, leaving the party in a fury. She takes her bike and rides to a nearby tree, where she meets a boy named Jeremy. Jeremy has built a tree house, and the two sit and talk, lifting Astrid's mood. Back in the underworld, Dolores is wreaking havoc, and Detective Jackson continues investigating the crimes. Soon realizing that Dolores is responsible, Beetlejuice also becomes aware that Dolores is after him. Meanwhile, Astrid stumbles upon a large map of her town and her house, discovering a book with the name Richard on it, her father, who has died and gone to hell. Lydia arrives, and they talk about her father's mysterious death. Astrid later returns to Jeremy's treehouse, only to learn that Jeremy is actually a ghost. He tells her he can return to being human with her help, and he even suggests they can bring her father back. Astrid, though skeptical,
eventually agrees. Lydia, in the meantime, learns from a girl about a house where a boy had died years ago. The same house where she dropped off her daughter. Horrified, Lydia rushes to find her daughter. Astrid and Jeremy pass through a door into the underworld, where Astrid believes she'll meet her father. At the same time, Lydia arrives at the house and encounters a dead woman, realizing the house is haunted. She frantically searches for her daughter, but the door to the other world closes before she can reach her. In the underworld, Astrid and Jeremy witness strange and terrifying events. Delia, using two snakes, manages to perform a ritual and enters the underworld as well. Lydia, determined to find her daughter, consults a map of the house and calls out Beetlejuice's name 3 times, summoning him. In exchange for getting her daughter back, Lydia agrees to marry Beetlejuice. After signing an agreement, Beetlejuice takes her to the underworld. Detective Jackson, although terrified, decides to confront Beetlejuice with renewed determination. Meanwhile, Jeremy tries to betray Astrid by selling her body so that he can reclaim his own. As she is taken away, Astrid spots her father, Richard, working at the counter. Richard, realizing it's his daughter, rushes to save her. Dolores eventually tracks Beetlejuice down, but an ally of Beetlejuice monitors her every move. As chaos ensues, Lydia and Astrid escape through another door, where a massive snake nearly attacks them. Richard manages to save them both, and they return to the living world. Lydia's wedding is set to take place in a church, where Beetlejuice arrived with Delia. However, Rory, angry at Beetlejuice for haunting his dreams, is injected with a truth serum. Under its influence, Rory admits that he only wanted to marry Lydia for her wealth. Shocked, Lydia calls off the wedding, and she even denies to marry with Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, who wanted to marry Lydia, furious, uses his power to force the wedding to continue. But just then, Detective Jackson arrives. Dolores follows close behind, determined to kill Beetlejuice. In the midst of the fight, Lydia finds a book detailing how to defeat Dolores. With the help of a desert snake summoned from the book, Dolores is finally killed. Beetlejuice's turn comes next. According to the book, a dead man who brings a living person to hell is destroyed. As Beetlejuice took Lydia to the underworld, the agreement between them is cancelled, and Beetlejuice is killed. After the show ends, Lydia and her daughter Astrid go for a walk. On their walk, they meet Jeremy, who has returned to the living world. Astrid and Jeremy eventually marry and have a child. To Lydia's shock, the child looks exactly like Beetlejuice. Suddenly, Lydia wakes up from a dream. None of it was real. Astrid didn't marry Jeremy, and there is no such child. As she wakes up, Beetlejuice is lying next to her. But when she wakes up from this dream too, Beetlejuice is gone. And that's where the story ends.
Please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.